It's great to have you join us today. This is Enterprise Weekend right here on Enterprise Television. I am Henry.
And I'm Choma Okohe.
All right, we'll be going straight to our newspaper headlines to see what we have this morning, while we urge you to have a say in what we say and be part of our community by following us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. And also, you may like to subscribe and share, while we urge you to visit our website at www.enterprisetvnews.com. Today, we have our guest in the studios, Barrister Evans Ofeli, Barrister at Law and Public Affairs Analyst. Good morning to you, Barrister, and welcome to Enterprise Weekend today. So quickly, let's start off our newspaper review segment with our first daily. What do we have, Joma?
Yeah, Harry, the first daily on our decks is the Nation newspaper. And the big story here from the local government caretaker committees. On page 4, you find anxiety in states over Supreme Court verdict. I'll have about 2 riders to that particular story. Workers raised the alarm over payment of salaries. Opposition parties their governors over judgment. And still on the front page, Tinubu names National Theatre after Wole Soyinka.
All right, so let's maybe kick up on that particular story, but I would love to maybe get into it proper. It says here, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has renamed the National Theatre in Lagos after the Nobel laureate Wole Soyinka. It further says, "Today I join the world to celebrate his profound influence on generations of writers, scholars, and activists who have been inspired by his work. I celebrate him for giving us the spark to fight and confront military dictators in our country." He further added, that's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, "I am accordingly delighted to have the honor to announce the decision of the federal government to rename the National Theatre Igomu Surulere as the Wole Soyinka Center for Culture and the Creative Art." And that's coming from our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Barrister Evans Ofeli. Some would say this is a majoring in the minor and minoring in the major. Sarcasm, people would say. I don't know, do you buy that submission?
No, it's not.
All right.
You see, the very younger generation don't know the value of Wole Soyinka. The people that throw insult at him on social media are those in their 20, 25, 30. They know nothing about him. The struggle for liberation of the Nigerian state was primarily him. Even during the war, he was arrested and in prison.
Yeah.
He was in prison. He wrote the man died. Now, because of his political position in the recent times, people now believe that the man should be excoriated at every point as someone who does not deserve anything about national honor or national value. But they got it wrong. For some of us who were born in the early 80s, that read Wole Soyinka's book from our prime, we can't join you. We can't. Because the value he deposited, his work all over the country, we can't. There was an incident that took place, was it in 2010 or thereabouts, when Wole Soyinka was in an aircraft. And a young guy walked into the aircraft, and Soyinka inadvertently had sat in a seat that had the boy's seat number.
Okay.
And the boy wanted to ask him to stand up. I won't do that. I can't do that. That I'm in the aircraft with Soyinka only. For me, because we were the set that actually even older people absorb his work. Will not do that. And you know why it's like that? We don't have any sense of history in the country. History is not taught. Even when it's taught, it's not offered. It's not made compulsory. So all of us are mates. Everybody's mates. So just you can just talk to anybody anyhow. So I don't think that's major or minor. That it is long overdue. There should be more monuments in this country named after Wole Soyinka.
But some would say, of all iconic places, why the moribund national
No. The
theater?
National Theatre is not moribund. Wole Soyinka is in the creative arts. You understand? It's in the creative arts. Even to date, he's still writing. So I think that is the most appropriate infrastructure that should be there. It's not moribund. It's functional. The place is functional. It's old, correct? That's right. But it's a national asset that is subsisting. It has not been sold. It's still the national asset. And for me, it is the most appropriate. And for him too, accepting it also tells you that you have just put him where he ordinarily should be. And that is the National Theatre. That has been all his life, is theatre. That is what he does. So I think I commend the president for that. And I also call on the president to name other assets, national assets after him, as appropriate as possible. It's important. Not every time that we talk about food, hunger, road. Sometimes those who have deposited so much in this country should be honored. And that's exactly what the president has done. And I think this is quite acceptable to me. But for those who think is not that, I can't help them.
Okay. Thank you, Barrister Fede. Aside from now him being honored, do you think, you said something about history not being taught. Don't you think it's time for maybe the basic education system should look for ways to bring in these books? Because they tend to teach about our country, and some of the writings get to give a little about the history. Even books like Chinua Achebe and Co. Don't you think it's time they also get to put it in our school curriculum?
Yeah, it's always been in the curriculum now. Just SS3, SS3, it will be there for 4 years, then another one will replace it. 4 years time, another one will replace it. See, the truth is that if you have read the Jero's Metamorphosis, the trial of Brad Jero, that gave Wole Soyinka Nobel Prize in 1986, maybe because I love books too much. I don't know whether that's why I sound like this. If you have read the Jero's Metamorphosis, that is where literature ends. When you talk about diction, language, expression, storyline, that is, the white man had no choice. In 1986, 30 million naira in 1986, remember. You know what 30 million naira is in 1986? It's over 30 billion now. So let's not undermine Wole Soyinka. I will not be in any discussion anywhere, any conversation anywhere where Wole Soyinka will be undermined. I know those who undermine him, I know why they do so. But that's their business.
All right. So while we talk about saying that's the business, I think it's very important at this point and in this forum. You better maybe use this opportunity to explain to the Gen Zs, the difference, especially with the tribal dichotomy that's brewing right now in Nigeria, as against one tribe against another. There's this been this rift or from the public comparing Chinua Achebe's work and Wole Soyinka's work. I think how do you explain this so that Gen Zs, who of course are very popular in social medias, could better understand how not to allow that mess their vision? And
Writing is about style. Okay, Soyinka's style is obscurantism. You cannot access the meaning of his writing directly because they are full of symbolism and imageries. Okay, it's a deeper coded form of writing that requires elevated mind and elevated thoughts. Not jaga generation, no. You require patience and proper expression of thoughts before you can grasp Wole Soyinka's work. The telephone conversation, for example, the trial Brad Jero, the man died. You see that the language is elevated. Elevated language, that's how he writes, that's the style. Now, Chinua Achebe's book is accessible, quite accessible. Chinua Achebe wrote for junior school. Chika and the River is for junior school. Okay, then things fall apart. The theology, things fall apart, no longer is, and the arrow of God. I mean, people who even talk about Chinua Achebe, things fall apart. Many people who talk about his Things Fall Apart don't even know that Things Fall Apart is not Chinua Achebe's best book. It's just the most popular. The best work Chinua Achebe wrote is the Arrow of God. The day you read the Arrow of God, that is when you know that prose writing, there are people who are born to write prose. And Chinua Achebe is one of them. So now, when you talk about tribal, who is better, who is not better. In literature, we don't do who is better, who is not better. It's lack of knowledge. In literature, what you do is literary criticism. You criticize the work of this and that, you understand? And you leave it at that. Somebody can pick it up from there, expanding knowledge. It's about expansion of knowledge. It's not about who is better. It's not about who is better, because the two of them are not writing the same kind of writing. Wole Soyinka is a dramatist. Okay. Go and read the Death and the King's Horseman. That was adapted recently. Eleshi Oba. Go and watch it on Netflix. Even the Gen Z, when they were watching, they were commenting that this is work of art. They don't know who authored it. They thought it was a guy who made it a film that wrote the story. It was Soyinka. Death and the King's Horseman. Where he brought the clash of culture, two cultures put together, married them, and gave us one of the, with language. Even those who they were interviewed, the cast were interviewed, many of them, what they enjoy most about their character, they says the language, elevated language. So why should we not put treasure where treasure belongs?
All right. While we're talking about, I don't think I would love us to leave this particular topic if we don't, of course, discuss on his political position as at today. What's your take on that?
Yes, his political position as at today is his prerogative. You don't expect him to align with your political position. There are people in this country today that are ready to die to ensure that President Tinubu remains the president.
Even if it's against the will of the general people.
That's what I'm saying. I said there are people, crop of people from the society. But did you not see Buhari supporters? Even until he left office. Die-hard supporters. They don't care whether things are working or not. You understand? So people have their preferences. It may not align with yours politically. But it doesn't not mean the person is not a useless person, because he did not align with yours. Okay? Have you seen where some people are criticizing P2B? Have you seen where that? So that's how it is. You can never get the entire humanity to agree on anything. Everybody in the whole world will come and agree that there's no. Even Trump, even Biden. Go and read comments about Trump, about Biden. You will see all sorts. You understand? So it's not just peculiar to Nigeria. That's how it is the world over. We cannot all cook up our thought into one belief. We can't, because we are diverse people. We see things differently. You understand? Some of the decisions that Tinubu has taken so far, some people don't see anything wrong with it. Even though me, I believe everything he has done from the day he got to office to today, they are wrong. You understand? So will I now carry arms against those who believe he's doing the right thing? That's not what civil society is. So let's give honor to whom honor is due. And even they talk about the cultural this, cultural that. During the civil war, do you know that Wole Soyinka, a Yoruba man, was supporting the Biafra government?
Yeah, exactly.
He's too for that was why he went to prison. So does it mean that he's unreasonable? There are those who supported the Nigerian government. Ike Nwachukwu, that's an Easterner, supported the northern Nigerian government, and he's from the east. So please, let's comport ourselves and let them return history and make it compulsory. History and literature should be compulsory, so that because people are not deep, people are shallow and they are walking up and down. Give them literature, give them history, mix it in their head. When they come out and make utterances, you will know that yes, we're breeding a future.
Yeah, very, very true. I do not know if there was a time they said the history is being scrapped off.
It's back.
It's back.
Yeah, but it's not
thank goodness.
Yeah, it's optional.
And people don't offer it.
Well, I think it's very important at this point that we appeal to the government to, if possible, make it very compulsory so that the Gen Zs, of course, would understand and value those who were there before them. Now, let's move on to our next daily, coming from the Saturday Independent. And the big story here says fraud. The federal government set to prosecute 116 federal civil servants abroad, still collecting salaries in Nigeria. And the right there says, we will recover all funds of presidency. Stakeholders demand radical reform, purge in public sector.
Okay, moving on, still on the Saturday Independent. Dora Moji unveils new pathways for Zenith Bank highlights strengths at investment forum.
And also on the top strip of the same newspaper, tenure elongation. Police sustain siege on Rivers LG Secretariat despite court declaration.
Okay, lastly, Tinubu, Dakbabiodun, Oni, others in Ibadan, as Makinde installs Oba Olukenyi as 43rd Olubadan. Details are on page 6.
All right, so I would love that maybe we take on two stories on this particular daily. Number one is the tenure elongation, a police sustained a siege on Rivers LG Secretariat despite court declaration. A barrister, bring us up to speed on that particular.
Yes, I didn't get that story.
Yes, so tenure elongation. Police sustained siege on Rivers Local Government Secretariat despite court declaration. So what is...
Yes, of course, because there's a dispute and the police have said nobody should be there. And the people of Rivers should understand that their tenure has expired. Okay? You know, from next month now, from this month end, the Supreme Court have said the funds of local government should be sent to them directly.
Thursday, particularly.
Yes, directly.
Yes.
And what is going to happen is that we have 22 states, right?
Yeah.
22 states that have not conducted local government election. So they have caretaker committee. They are not getting anything.
Whoa.
Yeah, they're not getting nothing. Because the Supreme Court said democratically elected. I like this punishment. I like the punishment. I like the structure. Like federal government would withhold the money. You understand? So the state cannot go anywhere. The Supreme Court have ruled already. Because when you tell them to conduct local government election, they don't want to do that. The federal government have no business sending money to any caretaker, anything. It's not recognized by law. That is the punishment for governors that have refused to conduct local government election. They will lose that money. Or they will keep it in arrears for them. Because they need to go conduct local government election. It's very important. And that money will now go straight to that local government. That is what it means. So for Rivers State, it's a different kettle of fish entirely because the case was even pending. The case between the federal government and the state government was even pending when Rivers State came up with their own caretaker committee.
Oh, okay.
Yes, now. Not too long ago now. It was even up to 4 weeks.
No.
Not to 4 weeks. Now, they have slated October for local government election.
Okay.
So what this past local government, outgone local government chairman are doing in Rivers State is wrong. What they ought to have done now is to go back to their people, begin to campaign
Okay.
for the so that they can
election.
Go and do the primaries, then go and do your whatever it is you want to come back. You should be talking about coming back, not elongation. Elongation will not work. It's not recognized. The court have said it's not recognized. That is the truth. And you don't expect, if the matter get to the Supreme Court, you don't expect the Supreme Court, having passed a judgment that local government funds will go directly to them, you don't expect them to elongate anybody's tenure. I don't know you understand.
Yeah, very true.
Because this case will go to the Supreme Court, and they will not elongate anybody's tenure. You have done 3 years. Have you done 3 years or not? You say yes. So what else again? So they should go and contest.
Okay.
And many of them will lose.
Many of them would lose. All right, so finally, let's move on to another story. I think let's just stay put on the Saturday Independent, if we may, and let's take on the federal government set to prosecute with 116 federal civil servants abroad still collecting salaries in Nigeria. This is not new. We've had ghost workers in Nigeria. It's been a perennial thing for a very long time. It's unfortunate that at this time the federal government is just realizing, or maybe they are oblivious, or maybe I do not know. But do you think this is a step in the right direction, knowing that this has eaten very deep in
yes, it's a step in the right
system?
direction. No, before now they don't prosecute them. They only get the ghost worker, yank them off, and then stop paying them, block them out of the payment system. But now they'll be able to pinpoint people, you understand, who have been allegedly caught in the act. So those ones will be prosecuted. That is its economic sabotage. It's wrong that you are sabotaging the country that you are working for, or that you pretend to be working for. And that's not the right thing. So those who are found guilty will be sentenced accordingly. And that is what it is. There should be no looking back or going back on this. They should be prosecuted.
Now, I'm asking how. because it is known that in our country we really don't have data. In as much as, okay, they have the account details and they are said to be abroad, how do they intend to prosecute them? Because
They were extradited now. They were extradited now.
but
How practical is it?
well, that's the thing. How practical?
No,
Because
it's practical. Don't worry. There is the Interpol. See, maybe because I do a lot of cases, offshore cases.
okay,
Maybe that is why I see that differently. You see, if a client have come to inform you that somebody have collected money or do this, and he has gone abroad, the case is so easy. It's easy because what you do, you not do a petition to the Interpol. Okay, let's say the person is in UK, for example. When you do a petition to the Interpol, the Interpol will now inform the Metropolitan Police, because international police is one police all over the world. You know, it's a common treaty. It's one police. Then they will commence investigation. Of course, for them to get to this point, they'll have fillers and investigation. They will go check their records, because it is Nigeria here where we don't have data. We don't have anything. Not in civilized country, everybody have records. Once they type in your name, your record will show immediately, and they start to check. You understand? If you want to enter the US, if you are coming out from the US, at the airport, they will put in your passport. They will just swipe it, and once they swipe it, your record will come out. Everything you have done since you entered the US, they will be looking at it on the screen. You understand? Everywhere you have been to, once you use your ATM, collect money, it enters your record. Anything you do, it enters your record. That's how civilized countries work. So it's easier to apprehend them then than to apprehend them here. That's what I'm telling you. Yes, it's easier. Then they will extradite them. What they know, they will now put them on watch list. Watch list will mean as you land here, immigration will just hand you over to police. Because you land, you have to go through immigration clearance. That immigration clearance you're doing, your passport, everything, they will now put it, everybody who's on watch list, it will indicate there. And they'll tell you, stay this side. We'll call the other person. And that person will pick the person. And straight to the police. So there's no way they will not get them. I'm telling you, and they'll be prosecuted. So that is what it is.
All right. I think this will bring some little sanity to our country, especially for those who intend to, get out of the country and still want to retain their positions in different ministries and parastatals in Nigeria.
Oh.
Yeah.
We hope that this will be an example to others,
exactly.
So they don't toe that particular line.
Very true.
Okay, that's all we have for you now. Thank you, Barrister Philly. Thank you for joining us this morning. We'll still continue shortly. When we return, reports by National Bureau of Statistics says Nigerian officials were paid total of 721 billion naira in cash bribes in 2023. More on that in a moment. Please stay with us.